Good morning, everybody. I hope and trust that all you guys are doing well, your family and friends. Um, really counting on my parts to be in for Red Baron today. So I'm going to hit Red Baron hard and heavy these next few days. I hadn't had all my parts in for it, so I hadn't done anything with it. Uh, Seen something on the TV that was a little disturbing, and I kind of figured it was happening, but when I seen somebody confess to it, kind of bothered me. You know, there are people in this economy. Some are really in poverty, some are middle class, some make good money, but the sad thing is they live paycheck to paycheck. They spend their money on a bunch of stuff. They live expensive lifestyles, and they spend their money. Well, some of these people hadn't been able to go to work for a month and a half, and they're in bad shape. They need essentials, food, shelter, stuff like that. Now, one of the big pushes through this corona thing is food banks. Man, they're giving away food like never before. However, there are people getting in line because they don't have nothing else to do. 3, 4, 5 hours to get a box of food or two, whatever they're going for. And these people are not in need. They just greedy. I can't imagine any of my daily viewers being greedy like that. Somebody was actually in the line and was interviewed by the camera and was complaining about never having to go get food from a food bank before. And they actually said, yeah, we're worried. We came to get food. We just don't know how things are going. And in a couple of months, it looks like we're going to have to start digging into our savings. Savings? A couple of months? He's talking about digging into his savings in July or the end of June. Listen here, man. There are people that need food today, tomorrow. If you have enough food to last you a couple weeks, keep your raggedy tail, greedy, selfish, fearful self out of the food bank lines. Man, that's for people that need food now, not for people that think they're going to need food in July and August. God, if you know somebody that's doing that, please tell them to knock it off. That's despicable. It's just horrible. Don't do that. If you know somebody doing that, tell them to knock it off. That's for people that need food. Now, there's people with children that don't have money to go to the grocery store. Don't let people get away with doing that kind of stuff, please. Let me go ahead and start the video. Hope you enjoy it for today. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I tinker with throughout the day. For step-by-step detailed instructions of those tasks, you can click on the links in the comment section below. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. This video also has tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. So, thank you very much for watching. Hello everybody, I am in a 2001 Lexus 430. Every time we put the key in the ignition, turn the car on, we get a message saying that the Lexus link system has an error. Its system has been deactivated since somewhere around, I think, 2004. System no longer in use. If you took advantage of the recall, they would have removed this panel here and replaced it with a simple sunglass holder. In the meantime, you could turn the volume down on it to bring the volume down, but I'm gonna look in the trunk, see if I can find the box to unplug the voice command on it, which will stop those annoying messages every time you turn the key on in the car.
A Lexus Link system error has been detected. Please contact your Lexus dealer. A Lexus Link system error has been detected. Please contact your Lexus dealer. A Lexus Link system error has been detected. Please contact your Lexus dealer.
Come into the trunk on the passenger side, pull up the carpet, pull up this panel, and I believe this is the control box for that. And here are two plugs. What they say you need to do is unplug this one, and plug this one into there. Plug this left one into the right one. That should deactivate the system and keep your speakers working. So let's see if that'll work and get rid of our annoying voice message. Kind of complicated to get them unplugged, but I got them up out of the holder, got them unplugged. So I'm gonna plug this one into this one, see if that works for us. I got this side plugged into that side because they were kind of awkward, and I'm gonna make sure that the voice message is gone and the stereo still works properly. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Car starts. No message. Let's see if the stereo works. Audio off. Audio on. Huh? Stereo seems to work. Let me check both speakers in the back, right and left. I'll try it with my balance. In the trunk, after I disconnected this one from this one and this one from this one, I connected these closer to the back of the car together. Stereo works fine. No more message. I'm gonna leave these two disconnected, set them back in their holders, and cover all this stuff back up. This sensor has a washer that would go on it, but it's hard to find those in a crushed aluminum. So I picked up these washers here from I think it's O'Reilly's. That's the part number on them. They're for oil drain bolts. I'm gonna put that on there, tighten that sensor and that drain bolt. You can see how far it comes down on the end. Then I'm probably gonna trim it so I could slide my 17mm over the oil bolt. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Trimmed a little rubber off that thing. I just snugged it in. Didn't really tighten it, but if it leaks, I'm gonna pull it and use a washer, crush washer from one of the turbo feed lines. I got an old washer on there. I'm gonna go ahead and swap this out. Find my 17. This other bolt on from the sensor was a 14. Somehow my voltage is down on my car from 12 to 6.9. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump it with my new box here. Plug this in here and go hit the starter. It was dead when I tried to start it a second ago. As you can see, the jump box reading 14.3. We go in here and hit the starter. Fired right up. My gauge is going through its test. Oil sensor is not hooked up, so it maxed out. Preheat my AFR. Got vacuum on my boost. Got the jump box disconnected. Now I need to get under there, pull that drain plug, and install my sensor and finish up the wiring. Have a clean drop pan. Any oil I lose, I'm going to put back in the engine. Have the sensor installed there. I lost, maybe an ounce of oil, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'll check it again when I get the car back off the ramps. So I'm going to take this ground wire and the power line, run it over here to this power steering. I'm going to zip tie it to there. I'm going to ground the ground there, and then I'm going to feed the feed line along that harness with the transmission speed sensor and up to the wire that goes in through the firewall. My green wire should be right there in that little bundle. So I'm going to take that green wire, clean the end off, and run it down under this tube toward that transmission wire and hook it up like I said. If you solder this connection, you'll be a lot better off. But anyway, you want to use the outer rim to hold the wire the inner rim to crimp it, and this is the one that plugs in to the white one. Green goes to white. I'm gonna trim a little bit more of that off so that it can plug in all the way. Get this thing crimped over like that, and then slide this long thing over there. Then you can plug it in to the wire down there. I'm gonna hook this one up to the other end of the green wire down there, and then I'm gonna seal it, so that's gonna be shrink wrapped. If for some reason you don't have a shrink wrap connector, weatherproof it some kind of way. Put a caulking in it or something. Just seal that tip of it off so moisture doesn't get down in there. Let me go get this hooked up. I got this wiring from Home Depot. It's got a picture of a trailer on it, so I assume it's quality enough for automotive use. 16 gauge. Here's my sensor. I see my rubber starting to hang out a little bit, so I'm gonna check that for leaks. 50 miles, 100 miles, and 500 miles. If it leaks, like I said, I'm gonna pull it and put a brass or aluminum washer on there. I tied the wires over to my power steering line. I grounded it right there with the black. Secured the green with the transmission speed sensor wires. I should be good to go. And as you can see, my pan is lower than my wires, so I'm not having any worry about those. Next, since my spark plugs are due replacement, I'm gonna go ahead and replace my spark plugs, top off my coolant, probably replace my heater core. I'll be ready for a test drive. These are the recommended plugs when tuning with Vast on these plug wires, rotors, distributors. Vast tuning, gapped at 0.026. So I'm putting 5 of those in at approximately 240,000 miles on Panther. Got the plugs in. These are the plugs that are coming out of it. These have, man, I would guess at least 25,000, heck, maybe 35,000 on them. Somewhere around there. Anyway, got new plugs. We're gonna clean this mess up I made, go for a test drive. Just pulled Volvo plugs. I think they had 34,000 miles on them. Let's see what kind of gas mileage I was getting average. And I had to start the car to get that. It's not telling me nothing. Hopefully it didn't clear it. It was about 21.5. Gauge is installed, ready to go. I just want to do a recap on these installations. Your yellow goes to a constant source of unswitched 12 volts. That means whether the key's in the car or not, you have 12 volts. Found that 12 volts 2 places. Found this 12 volts active in 2 places. There's a yellow plug up under the dash. That red wire is live 12 volts. Another place is up here. There's a relay socket next to that white jumper relay for that 213. There's a socket next to it. In the far right side, in the middle, that has an active 12 volts on it. The ignition switched. That means when you turn the key on, this becomes active. Up there in that relay slot again, the bottom row in the middle, when you turn the ignition to run, that gets power. So that's where I'll put my red. But I believe this brown one may also get power when you turn the key on. Nonetheless, I use that one up there. The next option was the black vehicle ground. There's a grounding post here behind this installation. You see that there? There's several ground posts there. Or if you're using a pillar pod, since that wire was long enough from my pillar, I grounded it to one of the 3 screws that screw into the trim held against the pillar. I screwed it to the bottom one. That's where my black ground went. Next, my orange switched headlight source. I pulled this rear fog out and this dimmer, and on the dimmer, when you pull a dimmer out, you look at the plug, and I think it's at number 3 position. It has 2 white lines coming out of it. That is where I put my dimmer switch wire, the orange one. And then of course the green, I ran outside of the vehicle through the firewall pass-through, connected it to the white wire on the sensor, and then the black wire on the sensor, I took it to a ground close to the sensor. So that's the recap. I'm gonna fire it up. Here we go, folks. Less than 100 degrees on the oil. Coolant's at 132. Oil is still less than 100. So we're gonna take about an 8-mile ride around, see what we got here, and see how our oil temp does. Man, that thing is a little bit hard to read. Before I connected the wires on the sensor, the gauge was pegged out at 300 degrees, so now it's down low. See how this oil does. Let's see what we're going mileage. We're at 387.6. Coolant temp 175. Needle just about got 3 o'clock. It's 70 degrees outside. Oil temp hadn't moved at all yet, so we've gone about a half mile. We've gone about a mile. Engine's almost at temp. The oil temp just moved up a smidget. It looks like it's at 110. I'm assuming each line is, well, it looks like each line is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, I don't know. Anyway, the oil temp is rising. This has been all pretty passive driving, going down to I-25. I'm gonna head north, and my temp gauge is almost, it's 1 notch before 140. So I guess about 3-4 miles, I'm at about 140. Just hitting 140, merging on to I-25 north. Very passive driving. I'm about to hit the I-40 East junction here off of I-25. That's where we're at time and miles wise. I had to reset the clock to 4:14, and my temperature gauge is in between 140 and 180. I'm assuming that's 160 oil temp, and that's my coolant temp. I'm right about to exit this San Mateo Boulevard. Coolant temp information there. That's where I am, distance and time. And my oil temp is right at 180. I'm going to keep driving around until my oil temp stops rising, but it's at 180. I switched the lighting on the gauge to white. It makes it easier for me to read. I don't know about you guys. The temp seems to be steady at about 190. I'm going to keep driving around, see if it gets any higher. I would imagine it would match the coolant temp. Well, coolant temp says 193 right now. That's where I'm at on mileage and time. And the temp actually dropped a little bit under the 190 mark. So right now I'm just shy of 190. Driving around town, city driving, my coolant temp is between 193 and 202. The fan cuts on at 206. That's where we're at, mileage and time. And my oil temp is just under about 190. So I'm gonna go down, get on the interstate, cruise about 10-20 miles on the interstate, see if that oil temp changes. Rolling back down this hill, Gibson I-25, my oil temp dropped to about 180. So let's see how it does cruising on the highway. This was running a vacuum on the boost, cruising down this hill. Cruising south on I-25, I tell you, that oil temp doesn't move near as fast as that coolant temp does. Coolant temp went from 191 to 178. I'm sorry. Coolant temp went from 191 to 198 pretty quick. But that oil temp is sitting at 180. So I'm gonna cruise down here, a couple of exits, turn around, come back, and we'll see how high this oil temp gets cruising on the highway at 75 miles an hour. There's my mileage. There's my temp. That's my time. There goes my gauge. It never got over 205. That's how it is. That's my maiden voyage with it. Thanks for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.